your home
here. I'll move this somewhere where I'm least likely to knock it over while I'm talking. And welcome to Thursday. We're doing DocuSign and commissions today, command training. I guess let's go ahead and talk about the same stuff we talk about every day before we jump in. So I'm going to put in the keyboard shortcuts. That's mostly a note for me, so I remember to put them into the comments later. And just to remind everybody, the keyboard shortcuts: Control-C, copy, Control-V, paste, Control-X, cut, Control-B, bold, Control-U, underline, Control-I, italic, Control-Z, undo, Control-Y, redo, and Control-K, link. That was super fast, but they'll always be in the comments. If you can get those memorized, or you can get the muscle memory down, you'll notice that Z, X, C, V, and B are all right next to each other on your keyboard. So it's really easy to kind of keep track of yourself if you get used to using those buttons. This is the login for command right over here. Remember, KW answers. You can ask all sorts of questions. We're going to learn about DocuSign today. So if you just put something like that in there, you'll get all kinds of stuff. DocuSign quick support quick guide. So this shows you who you can ask if you have trouble with DocuSign. And the workflow. This is probably, I think I've sent this out a bunch of times to everybody. So if you go to my command and DocuSign workflow, this can really help you if you need some quick notes, if you forgot about something that we're going to go through today. And then this is all linked up too. So you can, if there's something you missed along the way, they link it back so you can get back on track. Remember my tech support page over here, the drop down, you can find where all of the market centers and business training centers are. You can contact me or make an appointment there. And remember that this search bar is very functional. If you're looking for property search, that works really, really well. This is on the top page of everybody's agent website. So let's remember that that's there too. All right, we'll go back to KW answers. We'll go back to login. Went through the little opening reminders. So let's talk about how we kind of get into DocuSign. So DocuSign is sort of after opportunities, and then we go into commissions, and there's offers and comparing all of those things and everything. So it kind of moves in a line. I'm going to try to stick to that timeline. And everybody bear in mind that I am not a licensed agent, so some of the numbers I'm going to be putting in might be wildly off base, but they're just there for example to illustrate how the fields kind of populate. So give me some grace on that. Okay, so we're going to start in contacts. This is what we did way back. And remember, you need to have a contact to have an opportunity. You need to have an opportunity to use DocuSign to submit commission requests, to use all that. So we're going to start way back here so I can illustrate kind of the beginning of it. If you need more information on contacts, there's the class on that we did on Monday. And if anybody ever wants to ask me a question, just get in touch. But we'll pick this one, which is a version of me. Like I recommend that everybody puts themselves into a contact list so you can test things out. But here I am here. I've got 5 opportunities associated with my little self here, which would be pretty unusual, but I just keep putting in, different examples. So you can go to an opportunity this way. And a lot of the times, if you're seeing workflows online, they'll go that way because they want you to remember that you can't have an opportunity without a contact. So you gotta create that contact, create an opportunity to connect it to. Or you can also go down to the opportunities little handshake thing over here. And then we went through this previously as well. And you can see the sort of the layout. And this is sort of a workspace for you. I won't spend too much time here because we went through a lot of this, but just to illustrate, you've got a listing space, a buyer space, and a leases space. The actives here are all in their own little spaces. So when I click active here in listings, I'll have one thing here. And if I go back, when I click this one, it'll be a different version, and see that's in a different spot. So just know that they're all in their own little separate worlds there. We're going to go into this one here. We're going to go into a listing. Okay. Let me make sure I didn't get too far ahead of myself. Okay. Okay, so here we are. Now, you remember we can move around these tiles to the different steps of the opportunity. That's one set of dots. The other set of dots is the one that we didn't go into last time when we were talking about it. You can archive your opportunity if test listing 2 with Jonathan Montrose fell through for some reason, different house or something like that. You might want to archive that opportunity and create a new one for that contact, and that'll help smooth things over as we go along the way. Do you mean to back up or slow down, or?
Yeah, I was trying to figure out where because I was kind of trying to.
Sure.
I can watch it later.
Well, you can jump in. Yeah, click the little handshake on the sidebar, and then you can click one of the little circle nodes, and you're only going to find a tile there if you have an opportunity created in one of those stages, and that tile represents your opportunity. Okay, and then yeah, you can flip between the couple here, and they're all the different nodes. This is another way to get through those different nodes in opportunities as well. So you can click one of those circles, and they're all the same labels as these. And it'll take you straight into this whole screen, and in each one. So there's 2 ways to kind of navigate through those little boxes. So I'm going to go into test listing 2. There's a little triple button here, view details. So this is probably the part where people kind of get lost if they didn't get a little guidance or didn't look through some workflow or something. Because when you go into opportunities and you need to submit some papers, you're seeing all of this, you've been moving your tiles around. Okay, well now it's time to make it real. Let's do some paperwork and stuff. And it doesn't really look super obvious out here. So pay attention to those little 3 dots. If you change it to board view, to list view, 3 dots are all the way over here. You'll have to scroll down to see them, but they're still there. It's that same menu. I like board view. I think it's more natural for me. So we'll go to view details, and this is going to take you into the details of specifically this opportunity. So let's pause here for a second and take a look at this whole layout. We're talking about today, we're going to talk about DocuSign, which is connected to the Documents tab here. We're going to talk about Offers and Commissions, which is connected to this tab over here. I believe Tara had a question about notes and what people can see. This might be what she's talking about, but I wasn't able to test it. So if anybody out there in YouTube land, or if Emily, if you've got your app set up, we can put a note in that section. And we can see if that comes through on the client side associated with your app. I'm not sure because my app technically doesn't exist, but it does. It's a kind of a weird limbo thing because I kind of had a little workaround that to make it work for me. So I'm actually branded on my app, but it doesn't connect in the same way as my more active profiles. But if anybody has an answer to that question, I'd love to hear it. So let's go all the way back to details. We're going to start here. A lot of people will want to submit a request and kind of want to, they do everything somehow else in their own process. Maybe they're not super thrilled about command for whatever reason, and then they kind of blow by a lot of these details. And the one thing that they'll miss is the listing. And I'll show you that. That's over here. Or the property address. And the same thing is true as if you're in the buyer side. There's still a little, pardon me, property section here that you're going to want to fill out. And if you can go through the whole rest of your tab and you won't know that this is missing, and then you'll try to submit and it'll say listing required. And it sounds obvious that you want to go back and do this, but if you're not familiar with the workflow at all, you're kind of clicking around, you're not knowing where it is. So
you put it in from right there.
You can put it right in here. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 2, 3. Main Street is probably the address that gets the most weird accidental emails from everybody in KW. And then it should just kind of fill out. So you can save that and that'll populate here. So that's going to be important for a couple of reasons. You can see that this is synced, edited, all that stuff. For one thing, you need it to submit the request. You got to have it there or it won't go through. And that's so that compliance has information that has copied and pasted from something that is accurate. They're not just relying on you. Maybe you have a typo or something, or so they're taking something from the MLS. So where it says property, you got the little pencil, and then you put in, oh, have you connected DocuSign yet? Maybe not. Maybe, I hope you have. That's the same place we were yesterday when we were trying to look for the Instagram.
Yeah, I thought mine said it was
You probably did. If we talked, we probably connected your DocuSign. Well, when we sign in today, we'll see if we trip and fall or anything. So anyway, when you get into the property, click that, get it all in there, and then this is going to say edited. Now you're going to want to say sync transaction, and the reason we're doing this update is because this is going to sync everything to DocuSign. We'll give that a quick refresh. And hopefully everything says synced. So now when we finally get to the point in the day where we're talking about DocuSign and they bring up a contract in there or form in there, all of the information on this property that I've already filled out, it's going to move over there. That work will be done for me already. I don't have to spend my time filling out a contract, putting in the addresses a million times. It's going to keep filling out those fields. And the more you provide to the system as you go, the more those forms are going to fill out for themselves. There's another spot to do this in DocuSign also. So if you've got a zillion forms to fill out, a zillion contracts to fill out, which is not uncommon, this can save you a lot of time to take the time to do that. There's another spot where this will populate from the MLS that has a little bit more functionality when we get into commissions. I'll make a note on this, offers and commissions, so that I don't miss that. But that's another spot where you can fill out the address. And I think that one has a little bit more functionality. I was talking with somebody, we were trying to fill out, what was it? There's like an address, like 123 West Main Street. And then there's like, cul-de-sac, and then there's, road. And this one was trace. And they couldn't find it. One was listed all the way out. One was just TR and one was TRCE. And they couldn't quite get it to they could pull in the information, but if they didn't find it properly, it wasn't pulling out all of the information. So when we went into offers and commissions and we searched in KWLS, we put in the MLS number there, and that pulled it in. And I think it spelled out all the way to trace, and that pulled in everything. So it was just a more accurate way to do it. So when we get there, I'll make sure that we talk about that. And then it's just one more way to make sure that you're not accidentally, selecting a house that's in Montana or something, or whatever it might be. Okay, so spend some time here, fill all this stuff out, whatever you can. All of these have their little pencils. They're a little bit hard to see. The more you fill out, the more time you're saving yourself. A lot of this stuff is like estimated close date, contract date, all of this stuff. I think estimated listing price. So a lot of the stuff says estimated. Keep that in mind. That's not locking anything down. Seller worksheet. Anything you're working with here, any numbers that you have, make sure that is, filled out as best as you can. Those are the details. We go into the seller profile. And we've got some things. You can go, if you're working with your guide, you can see what step they're on here, et cetera. I haven't seen a lot of people use that. I'd love to get a little bit more into that because I think that's really neat. But that's a little bit outside the scope of what we're talking about today. Documents, where we're going to go next. We're going to kind of come back to this screen because there's sort of a workflow to this. We're going to go into documents. We're going to go to transaction. We're going to go into DocuSign when we click that. And then when we get everything filled out, and we're going to work in DocuSign, everything gets sent back. That's been clicked to sign. After that's all done, we're going to load up all those documents in here. And I'll show you how DocuSign kind of has an edge on a lot of other services because it's directly connected.
So everything now, all these documents go through DocuSign.
Yeah, you don't have to, but yeah.
Nobody signs the contract.
It can. There's options. There's options in DocuSign. So
I'm just like, I'm used to old school. Like I would go through the contract with my client, point out different things,
I think.
But now that it's how many pages?
SeaRealtors.org. Okay, so you've got some options. So let's hit the brakes here and talk about some options. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Well, there's a lot more than that. You can go here if you're looking that you just want to print out some blank forms with no fuss. Go here. Go to I gotta remember the workflow. Is it Business Center? Let's find out. Transact. You're in ncrealtors.org. I apologize. Pardon me. Transact, then forms and contracts. Once you're here, you're going to sign in now. I can't get any further than this because I don't have the credentials to do so. But you will, because you're going to need that number for a bazillion different reasons. If you have a login, that's great. If not, you can get started. First name, last name, email, NAR, NRTS ID, and your real estate license number. And this is what I've been noticing more and more. They're trying to restrict access to these forms to people that have this information. I don't know.
So if you don't join in AR, like let's say you just had a one stop, but
Mm.
there are some realtors that do that and don't. Join in AR. You can be a real estate agent without being a.
Well, that's well beyond me, but yeah, they're cracking down on it.
That's what they're trying to do is restrict your access to accessing the current documents and contracts unless you join the realtor.
Okay, well, be that as it may, this is what you need to do to get you'll get the blank forms this way. You can download all of them, print them out, and you can do it, with staples and pens, you can do it that way. Another way that we can talk about is once we get into DocuSign. Is it time to go into DocuSign? We can just go straight there. Let's go. Okay, so we're in the Documents tab. We're going to go to Transaction here. We'll come back to what all of this is in just a minute. So this is going to take me into the DocuSign room for this transaction specifically. You'll have to know your username and password.
Where would I have already done that?
This would be on your Keller Cloud admin setup complete email and it has all those logins and everything. And this one, I think, just might be asking for the same as your command login. Oh, well, it might be listed on another one, but I wouldn't be surprised if it were the same as command login. Let's do that. Okay. Okay, and here we are. And I can pump the brakes for a second if you want to try to find your login. You got it? Oh, great. So remember, this is going to take you directly into the room associated with this transaction. You can navigate around here. And I want to point out a couple of ways that you can maybe make mistakes or get disoriented while you're here. You'll notice that I'm on a brand new tab up here. Command's over here, DocuSign's over here. So it stands to reason that you can open up a tab and just kind of go to DocuSign, right? Don't do that, because you can sign in this way and it's going to function the way that you might expect. But because you didn't connect it through command, you're going to have issues later when we come back and we want to link these documents back down here, which will be a snap if we do it the right way. If you do it and just open a tab and go there as the website, you're going to have to download everything manually. You're going to have to put it up manually. It'll be as though you used any other kind of service. You're not really leveraging the abilities that DocuSign has when it's connected to command if you do it that way. Oh, Tara can't get into the training. I wonder what's going on. I wonder if people are bouncing out. I'm going to send her the thing real quick. I think I sent one to you earlier too. No, sent one to somebody, so I should have been able to copy it. Let's see. Here we go. Copy that over. Here comes Tara. Oh, she doesn't have her own profile. That's why. If anybody's listening, make sure you have a Zoom profile. That's the way that we get around having to use passcodes. You will need to create a Zoom account or sign into your Zoom account. Either that or I'm just going to set the passcode universally to 6 zeros, and I'll just make sure everybody knows that. I find that the easiest way for people to get into these meetings. Anyway, back to what we were talking about. DocuSign, always go through command. Generally speaking, if something is connected to command and you're trying to use it, start in command. And Marion Station, Maryland, they can leave a message. Start in command, go through that way. And this way, you'll know everything is supposed to be connected the right way. So that's why the go to transaction button is the way to go through. So we're back in DocuSign. You're in the rooms associated with your transaction. So now that we're here, we can create a couple of documents, and we'll create a new one, I guess. While we are here, we're going to talk about the NRDS number for forms. And I'm going to try to invite her this way. Wonder if I can get her this way. If that was the first time you wanted to DocuSign, it might be verifying you, yeah. Let me. Got her in there.
That was so
I
weird.
want to see if I, oh, there
Sorry.
she is. Hi, you made it.
That was so weird. I don't know how that did that. But it was just saying that I wasn't authorized.
I'm gonna have to
that,
check the permissions on that because I think maybe I
Yeah.
haven't, nobody joined yesterday either. I had to send another link out. So I wonder if something went strange.
maybe. But that's the first time it's happened. I was like, did I get fired?
No, no. You're
I
you're
was
doing
like,
great.
oh my God. I've had enough
Well,
this
welcome.
morning.
I'm
Thank
sorry
you.
that gave you some trouble.
No, thank you. Sorry. And I know I'm a little late. Our street got hit last night by thieves and 2 cars were
Oh.
stolen.
Oh, wow,
And
that's
somebody's
stressful.
wallet was stolen. Yeah, a bunch of cars got hit. If it wasn't theft out of the car, it was the car itself.
Oh, okay.
Well, they'd have a heyday in my house because I left my keys, leave my keys in my car.
Well,
They go away real-
all you can do is make it harder, right? You can't make it perfect. I don't know. All right, well, we are talking about DocuSign and commissions today. We went through the opportunities tab to get into DocuSign. Tara, have you gotten that far before? Are you confident to where we are? Does you-
Yes, I
yeah.
mean, I've gotten to DocuSign, I created rooms,
Okay.
but I'm not understanding the commission part of it.
Oh, well, that's coming up next. So you
Okay.
didn't miss that part. Well, we'll do a quick little lightning speed recap. You can't have an opportunity without a contact. So you need a contact first, create an opportunity, and then through that opportunity, you can get to DocuSign. And then when you go into opportunities, you can go into the details. That's where all these things are. Go to transaction, gets you to DocuSign. Quick detail that maybe you should know, we'll back up on, click the actual details here and make sure that your property is filled out. And that'll just do a quick search and then make sure that you sync that. And then that'll populate into DocuSign forms when we get there so that you don't have to fill it out yourself.
Okay, good to know.
So that was like the lightning speed recap.
That's fine, perfect. It works for me.
And then there's also the trivia. Don't go to DocuSign unless you're going through command. Start in command, go to DocuSign that way. If you go through online, you're gonna have trouble later. Okay, so that's where we are now. We're in this test listing 2. We're in the rooms for this opportunity that I've created. And we're gonna add some documents. This brings us to the topic of the NRDS number so you can access all your forms. Tara, have you gone through the process of the verification there?
Yes.
We'll go through the clicks here. So let me bring up my little notes. All right. All right, so you're gonna wanna click on your profile up here. Then you're gonna go to preferences. Then you're gonna click on integrations over here. You're gonna click on add provider. And we are this one. We are. You're gonna put in your NRDS ID number, your name, and the association. Ours is usually near the bottom, but I think the list gets scrambled sometimes, so it's not always. But here's it. Now it's near the bottom today. I found it in the middle one day. So you'll pick that. I don't have a number to put in, but you hit validate. And what that'll do, it'll give you access to all of the relevant forms that you're gonna be working with all the time. As we have the bazillions of opportunities and transactions that we'll be dealing with. So.
I can't find mine. You know, you were saying I could use that lookup, but it didn't find, I even used my old email. I wonder if your number's kind of like obsolete after you've been out of the market.
It may be, you know, if you're out and back in, they may have to reassign it. Okay. We'll get that, and then you'll be able to either get in touch with me about putting that into DocuSign, or you can, you know, fast forward to this little spot in the video to find it. We'll move this out of the way, or that's gonna be a little gray bar if I don't. All right. So we're back in rooms. I've got some test listings here. I'm going to pick one. Normally, you'd want to make sure you're coming back to the one that you're working with. So that would be this one, but I don't think I have any forms in there. I want to find one that's got some forms in so that I can illustrate. let's see, do I have documents in here? I have a document in here. Let's go back. And this is just me navigating around DocuSign rooms a bit. Oh, we were talking about the blank forms and everything that you can do. So you can go to NC Realtors and get blank forms that way. You can also go to rooms here. Technically, where's my test one that has a bunch of forms on it? Okay, a lot of these, if I brought in one that I'm not supposed to have, because I'm not licensed, so I don't have any real forms. So all of these are dummy forms. If I brought in one that was, like offered as something, it would say sample on it as a watermark. And once you start working with that form, that sample will go away. I think I overheard somebody real quickly. I'm not sure if this will work or not, but if you open up that form and do anything to it, like add one field and put an I in there, technically you're working with that form and the sample watermark will go away and you might be able to print it that way. I've never tested that. It's definitely a workaround. It's probably not something that they want you to do, but it's another way to get a blank form if it works. And then alternatively from there, if you've got a tablet or a touch screen, or if you want to bring your computer out, there's a workflow for using DocuSign, so you can sit down with that and pass it back and forth. And it'll go to like their profile and they can click to sign. They pass it back to you and you can click to sign, or anybody else can assign the different parties. And I think I'll make a note of that so I touch on that next month, because that is important stuff. So I'll make that note over here. So if anybody ever joins me every month, these classes will grow and grow as I, discover more and more things to talk about. So here we are in DocuSign. You're going to want to pull in a document and set it up so a bunch of people can sign it. It's easy and it's also not easy in DocuSign. If you haven't done it, it's easy to get lost. It looks like you should be able to just click on this and now you have a sign to work with. It's not really the case. You can see here that a lot of this stuff has filled out. Oh, this is the record. Some of the stuff won't fill out for me. Oh, here we go. Some of it did. Because I put it in the details section. Now that's not the details section of the one we're talking about in command, because these forms aren't mapped, but compliance took the time to map all of the forms that you're going to bring in when you put in your NRDS number, so that when you fill out the details, that information will go to this proper space. The details I'm talking about right now is over here, which is the second spot. So if you take the time to fill this stuff out, it's just like filling out the one like I was talking before, and this will help pre-fill out all of your forms as well. So, and then, as you get experience with the system, you can decide what's more worth your time. If you pre-fill out this section and you have like 30 forms, well, that's going to be worth your time. But if you're doing like 2 forms, I don't know, maybe you just want to do it the other way. You can figure it out. But the more of this stuff that you fill out, the more the system has the ability to pre-fill out your forms for you. And this is the details specifically in this room. So remember that those are not universal. Wouldn't make sense anyway in a lot of situations. Okay, so let's take a look here. I'm going to click this little circle so that I can work with this form. If I just click the form itself, all I'm going to do is view it to make sure it's, if I want to review it and make sure that it's filled out properly. I think DocuSign needs elevator music. Sometimes it spends a lot of time loading. But you can kind of like, if you've already gotten the stuff filled out, you can kind of review it that way. And that's all that really does for you. You can save and close. I think you can fill out simple information there. Maybe I'll open it back up to make sure that that is true. Yeah. So you can fill out like this information there. So, 1, 2, 3. Street, and these are the fields that would automatically be filled out for you in those details before. So we'll close that out. If you want to work with it, you want people to sign it, you want to be able to put the fields out and everything, click the little blue circle, and then you're going to add it to an envelope. Don't get tricked. This little envelope means email. We're going to the pen for create envelope for some reason. That's what we're doing. So we're going to create an envelope. And this is where DocuSign is kind of like when people are thinking how to use DocuSign, these are the steps that you need to go through. So you have this form that's filled out with, the street addresses and everything, the simple typed in non-signature information. And then you put it into an envelope. And then you're going to assign this envelope to the different people that need to sign it. And then we're going to arrange the document after that to all of the different places that people will sign it. And the workflow is that way so that you can, well, I'll show you. You don't want to arrange all of the fields where people sign until the document knows who's signing it so that it can organize that. So that's why the steps are in that order. So here we go. We're going to add recipient. This is the form. You can add more to it, to the room. Change the document name, envelope name to something that you will recognize. So I would name it whatever prominent form is in there or whatever prominent step of forms you're sending out, something that you can make sense to you. So when you're looking through all of your envelopes, you know exactly what's in that one. You don't have to open it, look what's in there. That's the wrong one. Go to the next one because they're all going to say please DocuSign if you don't change it. So change this so you don't go crazy. Make your life easy. So change that name. Down here is going to be the email subject that they get after we get everything set up. So you want to make sure that subject is something relevant. Please DocuSign is not necessarily inappropriate. And then the message field that will go in there. And then these recipients are who's going to get all this stuff. Pardon me. So pre-tagged roles is what I've been talking about here as far as the fields and who gets things. So assign pre-tagged roles. Seller 1, seller 2, listing agent, listing broker, whoever is associated with this form should be pre-mapped on any given form, you know, depending on, you know, what kind of a form it is. This should all be kind of done for you already. So we'll do seller 1 and listing agent because I'm just going to pick some fields. And then you can pick down for who it is seller 1 is, available recipients, whoever is attached to this stuff. So if you fill out those details, whoever your seller thing is, you'll be able to pick from that drop-down list and directly pop them in here. I'm going to pick me so that if I, you know, click send too many times, it's only going to bother me. So we're going to see a lot of JonathanMontrose emails here. So I'll assign those two. And I clicked away, so it went away. So we're going to do it again. Seller 1, listing agent, JonathanMontrose, add selected. So now I have some recipients. Now, this step here can get kind of neat. I'm going to add one more quick recipient. I'm going to add a room participant. And let me add this one. And I'll tell you why I did it that way. And it's different steps, right? So we've got these 3 recipients. I've got a seller 1, I've got a listing agent, and I've got someone who's not associated with the form, but might need to see it. So maybe I've got someone that's working with me on the transaction or someone that just needs to view something because they need to stay up to date with what's going on. So you want to assign them that way. If you assign them a pre-tagged role, they would need to sign some part of the document. So I'm saying that this JonathanMontrose isn't going to have any tagged roles to sign. So he's not a listing agent, he's not a seller, nothing he needs to initial, but he does need to be a part of this process in some way. So I popped him in by adding recipient, not as a pre-tagged role. That could be that's the way your details are filled out. You can also change those destinations.
I just don't know which one to send it to. Does it matter?
It doesn't matter. If you're just doing a practice one, if all of the emails are only your own, then this will only bother you because DocuSign is just a service. What's up, Tara?
Quick question. I heard that you should always be labeled first in the documents. Is that correct with DocuSign? As who sends it? I guess it's the method that DocuSign sends the forms. That if I'm labeled first, I sign the document first for the client to sign it second, and then the third party in the transaction, like a co-buyer or a anything on the agreement, or it's just them. It apparently is it the way that they receive it is how it's 1, 2, 3.
We can, and we're just about to that step now. As far as the strategy of that,
Sorry,
I don't want to.
I didn't mean to jump ahead.
Please jump in. I love questions because it makes this all a lot more fun. But yeah, we're going to talk about these little ones over here. You can assign what order things go out. Now the strategy of who gets what first, that's a little bit beyond my expertise. That's going to be for someone more experienced, you know, with these motions and how they get these documents. But you can assign them in those ways. So to answer your question, you can rearrange these little tabs by grabbing these little 6 dots and arranging them how you like. And then you can change these numbers around. So this might be 2, and I'll set this one as 3, not 23, that would be weird, 3. theoretically, that should stay 2. There we go, 1, 2, 3. Now you've got sort of a system of, it's like a program system now. What I'm saying here is listing agent will receive this email first. They need to sign it. Once they've signed their thing, because this is the condition, then their step is complete. It'll go from step 1 to step 2. This person needs to sign it. Then it'll go from step 2 to step 3. And you can change those conditions. So this person probably needs to sign. This person probably needs to sign. But let's say for some reason I want someone to review it before it goes to step 3. So I'll make that step 2. I'll make this step 3. And let's go here. So we'll say listing agent needs to sign it. And then I want, my trusty sidekick, Jonathan Montrose, to review this document before anything else happens after that. I want to make sure that that's done right for whatever reason. I'll say needs to view here. So now I have it set up as listing agent needs to sign. It'll go to my trusty sidekick. When it says needs to view, that step won't be complete until that form is actually opened. And then it'll say, okay, that's satisfied. We're going to move over here now. And we'll go to the next thing. This can be changed. You can say receives a copy. And then there's really no condition there. It needs to sign, we'll receive a copy, and then it'll bounce right over there. It doesn't even need to open it. But then they'll stay, if you just want someone to say like, this happened, maybe they need to open it, maybe they don't. So that's the difference between needs to sign, needs to view, receives a copy, witness for signer and specify recipient. You can set all this different stuff up. You can set up password protections, add access authentication. So if you've got someone that, really wants to make sure that the security is kind of set up, if they're maybe a little bit nervous about tech or, worry about people getting hacked, or if their email has been hacked before and they want people to get in, you can set up so that you can add a passcode to it. And then if you add an access authentication, you're going to want to add probably a private message here too that says something like, because you don't want to because if you put it here, then they're going to get a message that'll have a password that they can pop right in there, which is sort of pointless. So you probably want to say something like, text me when you get this for the passcode. And then they'll receive it. You'll send them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then they'll be able to open that envelope. So you can have that one more layer of security. They're also going to get whatever it is you put down here in the email message. But this would be a private message for just this listing agent. Jonathan Montrose 2 and Jonathan Montrose 3 would not see this private message. So I'll just discard those. Okay. So now we have kind of an idea. Does everybody kind of follow me as far as like you can program the different steps of who gets what form first, what they need to do for it to move to the next steps? Everybody feeling that? I think that's a pretty cool thing, but you can set this up to just kind of program it and then go, and then it'll all come back to you when it's done. So please DocuSign. And then here's an email message. Okay, so now we're going to get into modifying the form, because the form now knows that there's 2 people that need to sign it. That's why we did that step first. So we'll go to next. Okay, so now we're in the form. I think when everybody thinks of DocuSign, this is the screen that pops into their head. Like, this is DocuSigning. And so finding it can be kind of frustrating because you have to go through all those first steps to get here. So that's why I try to kind of illustrate that workflow to get to this spot. You can see over here that there's 2 colors associated with this form, a yellow one and a blue one. Those represent the different pre-tagged roles. I've got Jonathan Montrose yellow, Jonathan Montrose blue. I can toggle between the 2 different ones. So if I want to say this form has already been pre-filled out a bit. So you can see Jonathan Montrose 2 is supposed to fill out these fields. Jonathan Montrose yellow, filling out these fields. If I need to modify any of this stuff, I can. Or if I'm putting in a document that's not already in the system, I can move different things in there. If I said, oops, that wasn't supposed to be yellow, I can change it to blue and make that for somebody else. And you can delete it. And a lot of this is just kind of like working with like Microsoft Paint or something. So, keyboard shortcut. I have this selected, Control C. I can hit Control V and again, 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 and use all this stuff. You can select a bunch of them and get rid of them. Now that's out of your way. So it's pretty forgiving as far as moving around all these tiles, and you've got the different things that you can add to it. So you can add a checkbox, you can add radio buttons, and, toggle between them. You can change the, what they say, we're at 1 or 2, or so you can get a little crazy with it. But So that's how you fill out that's how you set up the form to be signed. And that's what this screen is all about. You've already got all this stuff filled out here. You can't fill it out, modify it because you've already got the form set. So that's typed on there. So once you get all this stuff set up, you're confident with it. The next thing you're going to do is recipient preview, because we're all wildly professional people and we want to make sure that we're doing things exactly the way they should. So we're going to preview them first. So we'll go here, and this is going to bring us through sort of a mock run of how this document is set up. So now we're into this preview. All right. This is what they're going to get when they open up their email and they open up the link to Police DocuSign. This is exactly what they're going to see. Scroll down, and you can see here that this is set up for Jonathan Montrose yellow to sign. It just says signature. Now, okay, well, what's the other Jonathan Montrose going to see? I can switch that over here. Now I'm viewing as Jonathan Montrose blue. Go through this form, and I should be able to see Jonathan Montrose blue. For some reason, that one's yellow, and that's weird. So, and it could just be because I'm working with forms that are, oh, actually, you know what it is? It's because there's only one person signing at a time. So seller signature there. If I go through this one, it won't be yellow. Yeah, so it's in the different spot. So each person is going to see their own as yellow because they're the only person interacting with the form. So it's color coded for you, not them. There might be situations where they both would be on there if you're doing the pass around the tablet thing. Anyway, you can see the different views here. So you've got right now desktop view, tablet view. Make sure that this is looking good. You know, maybe you move one of your squares was a little bit too far off to the left or something like that, and you don't love it. So you can kind of reposition it. You've got phone view here. You can go to next and see that it brings them to each section that they need to sign as they click next. I only have one, so it's not bringing me anywhere. So you're here, everything looks great. Close it down, everything looks great. I'm going to click send. That's going to send it to my emails because that's who I'm associated this document with. And that's going to plop into my inbox. All right, let's see. Let's check my inbox. I might do this off screen because I don't know what's in my inbox right now. I got an email from Tara. Sorry, I missed that. Let me take a look here. Refresh. Well, that's probably in my Gmail box then, because that was the one. Depends on who got which one first, right? So we go to envelopes. Change this so you don't go crazy. This is the one that we just made. So let's take a look here. It's waiting on JonathanMontrose@gmail.com. He needs to sign. So let me go to that Gmail. This won't boot me out of a bunch of stuff. And sign out. And you know what? I could probably just do this on my phone because technology. Let's refresh that. There it is. Please DocuSign. So I've got this on my phone. It just sent to me. I'm going to review the document. I'm going to sign it. We're going to see the steps move forward, and you can kind of keep track of what's going on in the envelope this way. So I'm trying to illustrate. Hopefully, it won't lock down on me so that we don't have to deal with any of that nonsense. Oh my. All right. So I'm going to allow this thing. I've got this message. I agree to this stuff, and I'm signing a document with myself. So this is nothing crazy. Go to next. And everyone can kind of see what I'm doing over here. I'll try to do it close to the thing. This is what I'm saying. Click to sign. I'm going to draw my signature. I'm going to adopt that. I'm going to go to next. Okay, I'm going to finish. Okay, cool. And I can save a copy of my document if I want to, which I probably would do if I was doing this for real. All right, so that's been saved. It says need to sign. Let's see if it's updated. Theoretically, it will update. So let's go on back for now. Here we go, signed. So now JonathanMontrose@kw.com will receive a copy. And it'll move on to JonathanMontrose@kw.com, the next guy in the list. And here we go. So you can see here, I've got a couple of things. I've viewed it. It's because I'm owning the room, but these are all the emails that went out, and I'm associating them all with myself. So they all went to the same place. So if I go to please DocuSign over here, I do the same thing, and it'll say, sign completed. In the interest of time, I won't go through all of the little button pushing there, and I'll show you an example of a fully signed document instead. Okay, so you can see the different versions of a envelope over here. So something needs a signature. There's a draft that I haven't sent anywhere yet. There's something that's completed. So you can go and see, the different envelopes and their different stages that they're in from here. Once you have a bunch of documents that are signed, you get to go back to command, and then you have to submit them to the Market Center, and then they go to compliance and all that fun, scary stuff. So we've got all this stuff. Things have been signed. And let me see if I can find, because I'm probably not going to find it because I didn't put any documents on this transaction. Yeah, there won't be anything there. So let's go to an opportunity that has, which one is it? So real quick, view details, documents. That's where we are. Let's see if I have some documents in this document. I do. Look at that. Okay. So this is the attached files from. So once you've gone through all of those steps that we just went through, we passed about a bunch of documents. Everybody signed it. You've got completed documents in your DocuSign that once they're completed, given whatever you set it up to be, they're everything signed, you can then bring them into command. You want to make sure you are attaching files from the right thing. So if you're doing manual, that means you're not using command. You've gotten something signed, or you've used some other program, you have this PDF on your computer and you need to put it into command. So that's when you go to My Computer Manual. You didn't use DocuSign, or you had a workaround, or something's not quite working right, or whatever it is. If it's on your hard drive and it's filled out the way you want, you can go to My Computer Manual. You can browse your own computer, find that form, pop it in that way. If you use DocuSign and everything's pre-filled out already, you can go to that. And then you can just select whichever one it's supposed to be. If you got your working with real estate agents was on there, which I don't have, you would find it here, and you could click a thing, and like magic, there it is. And that's all done. So you can do that for everything on your list. Now I'm going to remove that. So as far as we're talking about with lists here, you've got on the Documents tab, you've got these different lists that kind of preload sort of this checklist of stuff that you typically need given a step that you're in. So we're in 123 Main Street, listed, this checklist, I need, these things are required. So I have to have, working with real estate agents, the deed, county tax card, these things are required. And then there's conditional ones. Maybe you need this one, maybe you need this one, whatever it is. All of that stuff should be filled out in DocuSign. You'll be able to find it there, find it on the dropdown. That'll load it into command. And this is how you're going to get it to the Market Center, to the eyes that need to see it, to process it, to make sure that it's proper, all of that stuff. And you can do that for each step. This one's under listed. There's one for under contract. There's one for closed. They all have different checklists. It's a great way to stay organized. That's how you get those in there. I kind of want to move in because we're already coming up to the top of the hour. We might go long. So if anybody needs to excuse, that's totally, I won't be insulted, and I'll just put the recording on YouTube and keep going. So we're going to go into offers and commissions, unless I need to pump the brakes and talk about this step. Does anybody have any questions about getting documents in here? Okay. So we've got over here real quick before I go, you've got add document. If something's not on the checklist, you can click here and add a new thing to the checklist and title it however you like. So if you've got something that's not on there, or maybe you need to add a second version of something, again, because you can only put one document per thing, you can add a new one this way. Oh, and it gives you the room docs over here. I did not notice that before. So if you have something filled out in DocuSign that's not on the checklist that needs to be on this transaction, you can pull it in straight from there. That's pretty great. And you can add comments. So comments are something that it used to be a button that was easy to see. it's over here now. So if you need to add a comment, you can put it here. And this is a comment that's going to go to compliance. So if you're saying like this thing is strange because, and then explain yourself, probably because I can't spell strange in this case, you can put that note in there. And that's how you can kind of communicate with the people that are reviewing these documents, and they can communicate back with you that same way. And that's how you find that section. You can export documents. So if you need a paper copy of all this stuff, you can click export and save it, print it, if you need to do it that way. Let's go into offers and commissions. So this is a little bit disjointed because I feel like, you'd have dealt with offers and then you go to DocuSign and then we come back to commissions, but you all understand the process. So I've got a bunch of fake offers here that I love having. So this is for, I guess, a listing, right? Yeah. So we're going to add new offer, initial offer. There we go. Create an offer. And you kind of want to just follow the prompts here. This is the steps you're going to take to go along it. Parties, the terms, fill out everything accurately. Go to parties and fill that out accurately as well. Let's go, Sam, why not? Fill out the email, all that stuff. Click as many boxes as you can, essentially. Representation, this person. So we're going to go to terms. Fill out all of this stuff because this is what's going to help you when we get to the comparisons step. So we'll just put in some dummy numbers here. And I'm sorry if these are wildly inaccurate, but I'm just going to put in some stuff. So this is just a quick little thing. And it adds these two numbers. You're going to see the sales price, earnest percent, whatever that's going to be, and then you're going to go to agent analysis. And this is your, I know that there's some restrictions here about what you can and can't say as far as the pros and cons of a particular offer and opportunity. So make sure you're staying within the legal terms of stuff, because this is something that you could potentially present to your clients and when you do comparisons. Tara, this is what we were talking about the other day when you were talking about what people could see. So you can say, like this is a pro, con stuff has pros and cons, and then you'll save that.
So clients can see this.
You can present them to your clients so that you can choose to have them see it.
Oh, okay.
Notes over here might also have been something else that you were talking about. I haven't been able to test this one, but I'm wondering if they can see this on their app in a particular opportunity. I'm not sure because my app doesn't have the full functionality. So you could test that for yourself. If you share you should have your own app. If you create an opportunity with your contact information from your contacts list and put some notes on there, you can find a way to kind of test around what you can and can't see. And you can over here, you can edit and delete those notes too. So, but offers and commissions. So now I've got these different offers that are out here. We want to compare some offers. So let's say I'm going to select these three. I want to compare these three offers. Boom, they're compared, which is pretty powerful. So you can see.
Can you do that again?
Sure, let's go on back. So we'll go to offers and commissions. I've got these offers because I've created them here. Add new offer. Every time I add one, it's going to add a new tile.
Okay, I see.
And then you can select whichever ones that you want to compare. Maybe some are more worth your time than others. Maybe you've already looked at some and said you don't want to deal with it. Click the boxes of the ones that you want. Up here, compare offers. Now you've got a comparison. So you can see all the different things. Now, this is what I was talking about with your notes. The summary, this is stuff that I typed in. So that could also be, one of those things that's client facing that we've been kind of kicking around. Now, here's the next cool thing about it. You can email an offer comparison. Put it here, you have changed it out, create news, send a copy to your own email because you always want a copy of your stuff. This little eyeball here will preview it. And look at this beautiful email they get. This is what's going to hit their inbox. You get your branded information, says hi, whoever you are, comparison of offers. And the KW stuff is always so clean and nice. But there it is. And so if you've got some offers and you're talking with them on the phone or something, and you wanted to just get them that information, you just click, email it out. Now they've got something great.
I love the names you have.
Oh yeah.
Stanley.
to come
We're
up with
big
something.
fans.
Yeah. I think it was on a
My
sci-fi
son
theme
has
last round.
a autograph from Stanley
Cool.
before he died. Oh, of course, before he died, but yeah.
Yes, he's fun. I love his little cameos that he does in all those movies. Those in the background.
Yeah, that's great.
So that was sort of a lightning speed gone through of like offers and commissions. You can send that offer. Oh yeah, because that's what's going to send the email out. Also be aware in documents, once you've assigned some documents here, you can assign, change it around, do whatever you want to do here. But once you submit to Market Center up here, that's when you start bothering people outside of your world. That's when you start, that it goes to people in the Market Center, people in compliance. That's when you start interacting with those parties that double check everything. Also, once you submit to Market Center, there's certain things you can't do anymore. What's up there?
So when you hit submit to Market Center, that's like to have your BIC review everything, or would you prefer, would you do that as far as just the need to review at the very beginning with those documents?
I would ask Teresa next week that question about,
Okay.
the particulars of that. I do know that once you submit to Market Center, you're somewhat locked in. You can't undo that. They can undo it for you. So from what I would think is that you want to get all your ducks in a row, then submit it, and ask your questions along the way before you do that. Because once you submit, you're pretty much saying like, okay, we're ready to do this thing.
Right.
And if you need to change details, like if something about the agreement changes after you've submitted for some reason, you won't be able to change those details because compliance is reviewing what you submitted to them as a whole. This is the agreement. They're looking through that agreement.
You have to
specifically as though it's a
submit to
packet.
Market Center with every document like that?
I'm sorry, can you ask that question again?
Do you have to submit to Market Center every time with every document?
Not each document, you're going to submit the whole thing, the whole opportunity.
Okay, so
when you
do you submit the every opportunity you have to Market Center?
Yes, you
Okay.
have to. That's how you process your commissions. That's how you get paid. That's how compliance,
Okay.
what they work with. This is there's some agents out there that break my heart that hate command and they don't want to use anything about it, but they have to use this step because they're required to. So
To get
they'll
paid.
do everything outside command. And then just when they get to doing this stuff, they only use the opportunities tab and submit that way because they're required
That's
to.
sad.
Wow.
Command
I'm
is
here to-
amazing.
I'm going to turn it all around. We're
Yes,
going to get there.
yes, you are.
Yeah. But yeah, be aware of those details. There's client updates up here, which you might want to take a look at. You can set them up, send daily progress emails for this opportunity, what time they get it, who it sends from, the owner. If you're on a team, that's going to be who owns the opportunity and the contact. And I wish I could see what I don't got a little preview of what that is, but I guess they'll get a little play-by-play. And if you're curious about that kind of stuff, again, send it to yourself, create a dummy opportunity, send yourself some fake forms, toggle all the toggles, write in all the notes, and pretend that you don't trust yourself and look at all of the things and what can you find out and see everything that they see. And then this way, when they have questions like, I want to know what's going on with you have an answer to that. You've seen it, you know exactly what they would see, what they can see. It can really help with your confidence when you're looking at like, oh, my clients really want to know what's going on in this process, but I've never used client updates before. I don't really know what they are. Heard this guy, Jonathan, talk about them a little bit, but test them out on yourself, and this way, when you've got that client that seems to want that, because not everybody wants a bunch of emails, you know exactly what it is they're going to get. I think, let's go to timeline real quick, and that'll kind of be, everything that's happened with this opportunity, which is a lot because I use this one for all of my examples. I'll probably have to create a new one someday. This one was created all the way back, where was this? In July 12th. So, but you can filter and everything. I think that's just about the end of my content. Oh, I wanted to talk about the KWLS real quick. I know we're a little over time here, but I wanted to show that. Let's edit this. Where was it? General information, payment information. There was another way to submit the house information that I was talking about before. And of course, because I'm looking for it real fast, I'm not gonna be able to find it because I'm rushing or something. I do it this way. Okay, a new offer. Special offer, parties, seller, buyer, terms. Some details. I don't want to waste everybody's time, I guess, but there is an example of doing a search for a house. And in one spot, it's got some functionality, and in another spot, it's got a lot more. And I wanted to be able to show the search function because it's got that only my listings or all listings condition. Well, I can't find it here, but maybe I can show it over here because the search is very similar. So somewhere in there, you're going to be able to find another, and yeah, I think I found it before earlier in the class, but I'm struggling with it now. When you're over here and you're looking for a property address, you're going to want to make sure that you've got KWLS ID. Where is it? Where is it? It's the way it goes. As soon as I want to find it, I can't find it. Listing search. Filters. Clear. ULS. All right, well, if you ever see an option, there's a little drop-down box that I'm struggling to find right now. I'll probably put it in the comments later when I post everything, but I don't want to just drag on. There's one that says my listings, all listings. Make sure that you're always looking in all listings, not my listings, because the my listings drop-down never works. And I really wish I could find this for everybody right now, but maybe I'll make a little mini video and paste it in once I do find it. But that was the little key there that I wanted everyone to see. Let me see one more time before I give up. Is it in seller profile? Nope. Nope, it's not. Man, I just can't find it right now. Anyway, I'll make a little mini video of that later, and I won't waste everybody's time. I think I've got everything covered for content today. We're 10 minutes over. Sorry for that. Is there any questions though? Because I'm just going to stick around if anybody has questions or something I want to go through. Good. Okay, well, that's what I have for today. Thanks for joining me. And these are getting loaded up to YouTube. Yeah, thank you. I'm getting all these on YouTube before 5 every day, so you can always kind of find them that way.
Thank you.